Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually we're taking a scalpel to, well, to dense cosmological theories, maybe the murky depths of geopolitics.
Or, the surprisingly profound inner life of a common cockroach. We do that too.
We absolutely do. We pride ourselves on delivering those critical nuggets of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But today we are doing something entirely unprecedented.
We really are. We're turning that intellectual microscope inward. For this deep dive, we have somehow been granted access to a stack of internal documents.
And this isn't just a peek behind the curtain. This is an unfiltered, and I have to say, a deeply shocking look at the operational reality of the very organization that facilitates this show.
Deep Dive Productions, LLC.
Exactly. Okay, so let's unpack this right away, because what we have here is not just an org chart or a mission statement.
No, not at all.
It's a source that reveals a profound, an almost unbelievable paradox. We're examining an organization that's dedicated to the serious and scholarly pursuit of knowledge.
But its internal operations, the way it's actually run day to day, it reads like a fever dream.
A fever dream written by an extravagant tech mogul with a completely bottomless budget. That's the perfect way to put it.
It's the ultimate corporate head-scratcher. So I think the mission of this deep dive is to try and reconcile the irreconcilable.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you have the financial documentation, which just screams disaster.
And on the other, you have the infrastructural blueprints, which describe a corporate campus that it defies all economic logic.
All of it.
The initial revelation, it just hits you like a cold splash of water.
Yeah.
We are looking at a company that is, and this is a direct quote, currently operating at a significant deficit.
Significant deficit. And it gets worse.
It does. Because the foundational life support, that initial cash infusion that kept the lights on and the research flowing.
The venture capital.
That venture capital runway has completely unequivocally ended.
It's gone.
We are talking about a company that is, for all intents and purposes, broke.
Right.
Or at the very least, experiencing a profound liquidity crisis.
That's the economic reality. And yet, when you look at what this organization has built, what it maintains and operates on a daily basis, it's not some humble radio studio.
It's not even close.
It's an unparalleled, sprawling, and wildly complex corporate campus, a campus built with amenities and contingencies so extreme that they seem like they belong in a futuristic science fiction novel.
Not in a media company that is struggling to pay its bills.
Exactly.
So how do you justify that?
Yeah.
How do you justify a sprawling campus when your VC money has completely dried up?
Yeah.
That's the tension we're navigating here.
And this documentation, it shows us that the cost of simply existing for this company is fundamentally overwhelming its economic viability.
Right. And yet this show, the knowledge we disseminate to you, the listener, it's not without value.
Absolutely not. And they know that. The internal memo, in its attempt to justify the need for immediate funding, it explicitly references the critical public service provided by our past successes.
They actually call out specific deep dives.
They do. They point to episodes like The Hidden Life of Cockroaches, which was episode 311, and that philosophical query we did in Do Fish Cry, episode 404.
So those episodes prove the utility, right? They establish the baseline value proposition for you, the capacity to turn obscure research into accessible, surprising knowledge. That is the service DDP provides.
It's their entire justification for existing. But the underlying issue, the massive problem, is that the environment they've decided is required to produce that high-level, synthesized intellectual exploration is costing exponentially more than the output can ever sustain.
So we're looking at an organization that, without some kind of immediate intervention, risks collapsing entirely.
And taking its valuable mission with it.
All because the sheer weight of its own infrastructure is just too great. So that sets the stage perfectly for the crisis point. If the venture capital runway has definitively ended, what exactly is the situation right now? And how on earth are they proposing to secure the massive injection of capital they need to keep the infinity pool infinitying?
Well, the language in the memo is not subtle. This isn't about long-term planning. They need, and again I'm quoting, liquid assets immediately.
Immediately.
That signals that payroll, utilities, all the critical operations are threatened right now. So the pivot has to be instantaneous. They have to transition from that institutional reliance to audience support.
A high-stakes emergency fundraising drive.
That's what it is. And this transition is formalized into what they're calling the Deep Dive membership mandate.
Oh.
It's a 3-tiered structure designed specifically to secure this capital for continued operation.
Let's walk through the details then, starting with the most accessible tier?
Okay, so level 1 membership. This is the baseline support. It comes in at $10 a month. This is really designed for mass appeal, get as many people in the door as possible.
And for your $10.
You get 2 core tangible benefits that connect you to the brand. First, the official deep dive sticker, which, lets you subtly signal your intellectual allegiance on your laptop or whatever.
Right, a little badge of honor.
And second, the monthly deep dive newsletter, which presumably provides some exclusive behind-the-scenes content or maybe previews of what we're working on.
Simple, clean, effective for building a recurring subscriber base. I get that. But then we hit a pretty big jump.
A factor of 10.
A factor of 10. Level 2 membership is $100 per month. Now we are moving past minor support into, significant investment from a listener.
A huge investment.
What does that financial leap unlock?
For $100 a month, the value proposition shifts dramatically toward tangible physical goods. This is where the organization is trying to solidify the brand's presence in a patron's daily life.
So you get stuff?
You get a lot of stuff. You get the Deep Dive t-shirt, which is a significant piece of merch. You get the Deep Dive board game.
A board game?
A board game, implying a pretty serious investment in specialized IP. You also get the Deep Dive coffee mug, and of course you still get that indispensable Deep Dive sticker and the newsletter.
Okay, that feels like a legitimate high-value subscription box model almost. It's designed to capture the really serious, dedicated fan.
It is.
But then, things go completely off the rails with the ultimate tier.
I think off the rails is putting it mildly.
Level 3, the lifetime membership. And the asking price is, it's not for the faint of heart. It is a one-time fee of $1 million.
$1 million. This is where the fundraising strategy enters the realm of the highly improbable, maybe even the satirical.
You think?
Oh yeah. This tier isn't built for volume. It's built on the hope that there's just one or maybe 2 extremely wealthy, dedicated, or maybe just eccentric patrons out there who are willing to bankroll the continuation of the whole organization for sheer novelty.
Just one sale could change everything for them, at least for a little while.
A single sale of 1 lifetime membership could provide a crucial, albeit very temporary, stabilization of their immediate liquidity crisis.
So what does the organization promise in return for this extraordinary 7-figure commitment?
Well, you get the entire level 2 package, of course. The board game, the t-shirt, the mug, the sticker, the newsletter.
I would hope so, for $1 million.
You'd hope so. But you also get 2 extremely high-value exclusive items appended to that.
Okay, here we go.
The first is the Deep Dive electric unicycle.
A what?
An electric unicycle. Think about that for a moment. For $1 million, they are offering you a branded single-wheel vehicle.
I don't even know what to say. It's a commitment to novelty over any kind of utility. That seems deliberately difficult to operate.
For that kind of money, I'd expect, I don't know, a personal submarine? Or maybe naming rights to the Deep Dive library we're about to talk about.
Instead, you get a glorified branded scooter that's missing a wheel.
It's almost like a test of commitment, isn't it? Are you willing to spend $1 million on this level of sheer absurdity?
But that's not even the centerpiece, is it?
Not even close. The true centerpiece of this high-tier benefit package is something called the Deep Dive Virtual VIP Pass.
And reading the documentation on this, the definition of this pass is perhaps the most circular, baffling piece of corporate jargon in the entire memo.
It is pure, unadulterated abstraction. They define the virtual VIP pass as, and I'm quoting this verbatim, a virtual pass to our virtual site, where you can virtually enjoy all the virtual benefits of our virtual deep dive amenities.
Virtually enjoying virtual benefits on a virtual site. I have to ask again, what in the world are we buying for $1 million?
And that raises the most important question here, right? The question of perceived value versus actual value. Does this pass grant the member access to some bespoke, ultra-exclusive metaverse experience?
Like a digital copy of the actual campus.
Exactly. A digital facsimile of the campus we're about to discuss, with all its pools and luxuries. Or, and I think this is perhaps more likely given the severe financial constraints, is this just a brilliant piece of corporate theater, a meticulously worded promise that's designed to sound incredibly exclusive, yet provides no tangible benefit, and, more importantly, incurs zero physical cost to the cash-strapped organization?
If the organization is willing to sell what essentially amounts to digital smoke and mirrors at their highest $1 million tier, emphasizes how desperate they are.
Desperate for that immediate liquidity.
They need the capital so badly they're willing to promise entry to a fictional space to someone wealthy enough to actually pay for it.
It's the ultimate irony, really. The intellectual heart of the organization dedicated to finding concrete facts is banking its entire future on a completely abstract virtual benefit package.
And that immense need for capital, that deep, throbbing deficit, brings us perfectly to the next section.
Right. Why does Deep Dive Productions, LLC, need such staggering sums of money immediately?
The answer lies entirely in this sprawling, non-negotiable operational infrastructure. The internal justification is actually pretty simple. The funding is required to maintain the current campus standard.
And that standard is dictated by a mandate to ensure the maximum physical, social, and mental health of the deep dive staff.
And when they say maximum health, they really mean maximum luxury and, it seems, maximum containment.
Exactly. Let's start cataloging the physical and leisure amenities that form the backbone of this campus. And you have to understand, these are not just office perks. They are architectural statements of indulgence.
We should start with the aquatic extravagance, not just a pool, but the deep dive infinity pool.
That choice of word infinity, it suggests aesthetic design as much as function. It implies high-end materials, sophisticated filtration systems, and the kind of panoramic views that require a significant ongoing maintenance and landscaping budget.
Oh, absolutely. Then we move into the physical fitness complex.
Right. You have the standard, well-equipped deep dive gym, but that's supplemented by the deep dive racquetball courts.
Which goes beyond simple fitness. Racquetball is a high-intensity social sport that demands very specific space requirements, specialized floor maintenance.
They're building an athletic training center, not just a place to run on a treadmill.
And for the more intellectual, contemplative staff, they maintain the deep dive library.
Of course.
And for less strenuous, highly recreational leisure, they have constructed the deep dive miniature golf course.
Which is a large, dedicated outdoor facility, mind you.
And the deep dive bowling alley.
Okay, just stop there for a second. Think about the commitment involved in that one. To build and maintain a professional-grade bowling alley, the pin setters, the lane oiling, the specialized insulation is a profound expense.
It's incredible. The goal is just so clear. Staff should never, ever have to leave the premises for relaxation or physical activity.
Every conceivable recreational need is met on site. It insulates the workers from the outside world.
Now, let's talk about the nerve center of social decompression. The dedicated entertainment complex, known as the Deep Dive Game Room.
And this is not just a handful of beanbag chairs and a console. This is a massive social and technological hub.
It seems designed to cater to every flavor of escapism.
It is. It includes a cyber cafe, which blends high-speed connectivity with social interaction, alongside a fully equipped arcade, leaning into retro entertainment and nostalgia.
Then you have the social physical games. Darts, air hockey.
And the classic combination of ping pong and pool tables.
Here's where the social health mandate gets expensive and, frankly, a little concerning.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Integrated into the game room complex is a fully stocked, fully operational open bar.
The implication of that is just massive. This isn't an occasional happy hour. This suggests alcohol consumption is an integrated, daily, and almost mandatory part of the social fabric.
It's positioned as an essential amenity for fostering camaraderie, but the financial implications of maintaining a consistently open, fully staffed, and well-stocked bar within the office's primary recreation zone are...
They're staggering.
They have to be. And speaking of integration, let's transition seamlessly into the culinary environment because the facilities go far beyond simply feeding the staff.
Oh, way beyond. We are talking about the deep dive sushi bara and grill.
A full-scale, specialized fine dining experience that serves as an entertainment center in and of itself.
Right. This elevates dining to performance art. The sushi bara requires specialized chefs, specific high-grade ingredients, and a complex logistical supply chain just to maintain authenticity and quality.
But what truly stands out here is the infrastructural redundancy.
Yes.
The sushi bar and grill also includes a second open bar.
A second one.
A second open bar. So staff members have access to unlimited organization-provided alcohol in their main recreational complex and in their primary dining facility.
So I have to ask, are they trying to foster intellectual freedom or just maintain a persistent low-grade buzz to mitigate the stress of the impending financial collapse?
It feels like the latter.
It is the highest expression of the social health mandate. It prioritizes disinhibition and easy social bonding, whatever the cost. And this dining complex, it doubles down on the entertainment mandate by including a stage.
A stage for varied performance arts.
And the list of scheduled programming. It reveals the organization's commitment to providing a constant, eclectic cultural stream for its staff.
The list is fascinatingly bizarre. They cater to participatory fun with karaoke,
Of course.
alongside casual, cerebral humor like stand-up comedy and high-quality musical performance with live jazz. That's a relatively standard, if expensive, entertainment rotation.
But then the programming shifts sharply into the realm of the theatrical and the extremely niche.
Puppet shows.
Puppet shows and Parisian mime
Parisian mime theater.
Oh,
Just
well.
think about the expense of contracting professional Parisian mime troupes to perform on-site, right next to the sushi counter.
While someone is butchering a classic rock anthem on karaoke night.
It is a stunning display of cultural maximalism. It's all dedicated to ensuring staff never experience a single moment of boredom or cultural deprivation.
They have created a perfectly insulated bubble where external reality, including the very real fact that the company is broke, simply cannot penetrate.
And this intense operational model, designed to meet every single physical and social need internally, is the direct reason they need millions of dollars in liquid assets right now.
They've built an incredibly luxurious prison for their intellectual labor.
Which brings us sharply into Section 3, focusing on the dedicated wellness and psychological support systems.
Yes, and this is where the extreme spending transitions from simple luxury to what feels like a necessary defense mechanism against burnout.
Starting with the deep dive spa complex.
The spa is a comprehensive luxury facility. It's designed for immediate physical and cosmetic stress relief. It begins with the standard high-end amenities, sauna rooms, multiple jacuzzis.
But then the offerings become more exotic and specific.
Like the inclusion of mud baths, a tanning salon, and professional Swedish massage.
The tanning salon, specifically, feels like an outlier in a supposed wellness center.
It does. But the overall intention is clear. Providing instant, high-end somatic maintenance for staff without requiring them to leave the secure perimeter of the campus. It's radical self-care paid for by an organization that's nearing insolvency.
And outside of the spa, they invest in facilities designed to manage mood and social interaction.
Right, you find the deep dive Zen garden, which serves the necessary function of providing quiet, introspective contemplation space.
But again, we have to juxtapose this with the social lubrication provided by the deep dive wine cellar.
The wine cellar is explicitly designated as a tool for staff social health. So you have these two radically different yet equally essential approaches to stress management.
Meditative silence in the Zen garden.
Versus potentially disinhibiting highly social alcohol consumption in the wine cellar, and both are deemed vital to the staff's psychological stability.
And this inherent contradiction, this blend of the primal and the futuristic, is perfectly embodied by the support staff and resources they provide.
Absolutely. The documentation confirms the simultaneous operation of both the deep dive petting zoo, and the employment of the deep dive personal humanoid robot aides.
So let me get this straight. You can walk off a stressful research session and achieve immediate, non-judgmental comfort by petting a small goat or a sheep in the zoo.
And then 5 minutes later, you are relying on a dedicated high-tech automaton to manage your complex schedule, deliver a customized beverage, and handle your basic personal logistics.
It is the ultimate synthesis of their corporate philosophy.
It is. Addressing emotional needs through the most ancient, primal means animal comfort, while ensuring maximum efficiency and minimal human friction via the most advanced technology robotic aids.
But all of this, all the sushi, the massages, the petting zoo, it all just prelude to the most revealing and perhaps the most alarming piece of infrastructure on the entire campus.
The deep dive mental health pods. This is the critical detail that really defines the organization's operational culture. These are described as personal safe rooms, strategically located throughout the massive complex.
And they are not merely quiet rooms or private offices. The source materials use extremely specific and, I think, powerful descriptive terms.
They are fortified, padded, and soundproofed sanctuaries.
That level of engineering.
Yeah.
Fortified walls, acoustic isolation, padding. It implies a need for extreme physical containment.
And the specific use case that's cited clarifies the severity of the operational environment. These pods are designed for staff experiencing panic attacks and/or emotional outbursts.
So this is the organizational acknowledgement that despite the limitless luxury, the mimes, the sushi, the infinity pools, the work environment is so intensely demanding that high-level professionals are prone to structural psychological failure.
A fortified, padded, soundproof room designed for a panic attack. That is not a wellness perk. That is an industrial containment solution.
What kind of pressure are they operating under that requires fortified walls for their writers and researchers?
The organization's stated operational goal is the key to understanding the culture. The pods exist, and I'm quoting again, to ensure that psychological volatility does not interrupt the production schedule or compromise our tranquil atmosphere.
So their priority is absolutely clear.
Completely. Staff mental health is not a holistic goal, it's a logistical problem.
The pods are designed for rapid containment and systemic risk mitigation. The organization is prioritizing the appearance of tranquility over the genuine well-being of the individual experiencing trauma.
If we connect this back to the bigger picture, it implies that the intellectual intensity required for continuous deep dive content production is just so high.
Maybe compounded by the existential stress of their financial state.
Right. That a certain percentage of the staff will inevitably enter a state of crisis severe enough to warrant physical containment and acoustic silencing. The whole campus is a luxury pressure cooker.
The implication of needing fortified sanctuaries is that these emotional outbursts are potentially destructive.
They threaten the integrity of that tranquil atmosphere they so desperately want to maintain.
It's a desperate attempt to isolate and silence the sound of the system breaking down, so the rest of the campus can continue enjoying their Swedish massages and Parisian mimes.
This profound tension between extreme luxury and necessary psychological fortification, that is the core of the Deep Dive Productions LLC model.
It suggests that deep intellectual exploration, pursued at this scale, fundamentally destabilizes the human mind and requires equally radical solutions for comfort and for containment.
It really does.
If the intellectual exploration of the deep dive format has captivated you, and you want to ensure this necessary, if slightly alarming, organization continues its mission, consider becoming a member. You can find out more by visiting deepdive.cake and clicking the Join Now button. We deeply appreciate your support in keeping this complex, bizarre operation functioning. All right, let's transition into the final layer of this bizarre corporate structure. The infrastructure we've covered so far, the wellness centers, the open bars, the padded containment rooms, it's all dedicated to the present state of the staff.
Right. But this next set of facilities, it speaks to a dedication to extreme research, historical eccentricity, and a commitment to surviving the apocalypse.
This is where Deep Dive Productions stops merely being an extravagant media campus and starts looking like a private governmental research institution combined with a wealthy eccentrics prepper compound.
That's a great way to put it. We have to examine the cutting-edge technology integrated into this structure,
Starting with the Deep Dive Simulation Room.
which is defined explicitly as a virtual reality experience that is enhanced with neural implants.
Neural implants.
The inclusion of neural implants signifies a commitment to the absolute apex of immersive technology. We are talking about direct brain-computer interface capability for simulation.
This isn't just passive viewing.
Not at all. This suggests the organization is actively experimenting with direct sensory input for research, potentially allowing staff to, experience content ideas or historical environments with maximum physiological fidelity. It's research at the neurological frontier.
They're literally wiring their staff into the research environment. This high-tech commitment is then balanced by the Deep Space Observatory.
The observatory represents an organizational fixation on the furthest frontiers of knowledge.
I mean, the construction and maintenance of a sophisticated deep space astronomical facility integrated into a campus that serves sushi and puppet shows is an astounding financial commitment.
It absolutely is. It reinforces that brand identity of seeking deep cosmic knowledge, but it adds yet another multi-million-dollar expense to their significant deficit.
But the most extreme investment in longevity and the most dramatic piece of civil engineering has to be the deep dive survival bunker.
This is truly phenomenal. The documents describe a post-apocalyptic survival vault. We are not talking about a reinforced basement for storing canned goods.
No. The specification is crystal clear. It is located 1 mile under the deep dive campus.
1 mile deep. Just pause and consider the immense costs and logistical difficulty of excavating, constructing, and then maintaining a fully pressurized, fully operational, life-sustaining environment a mile beneath the surface.
We're talking about billions of dollars in pure contingency infrastructure.
Billions. Built by a company currently worried about its immediate cash flow.
It's the ultimate insurance policy.
And the bunker's mission statement is equally dramatic. It reveals the organization's foundational ideology. It is designed to ensure staff can continue producing content long after society collapses. And explicitly for helping rebuilding a glorious dystopia after the dust settles.
A glorious dystopia.
Glorious
It's a
dystopia.
phenomenal phrase. They don't just want to survive the collapse. They have a specific ideological agenda for the post-apocalyptic world.
They plan to survive, but only to dictate the terms of the new society, which they have already predetermined will be glorious, but, fundamentally totalitarian.
It reveals a profound megalomania inherent in their mission. Content production is not just a job. It's a foundational requirement for restarting civilization.
They see themselves as the indispensable intellectual custodians of the future, even if that future must be a heavily controlled, glorious dystopia.
The survival of the knowledge and the organization that produces it is paramount, even if the lights might be turned off next week due to fiscal insolvency.
That is the ultimate paradox right there. Running out of money for today, yet having engineered the capability to survive global annihilation and dominate the resulting society. The priorities are profoundly skewed.
And from the cutting edge of post-apocalyptic planning and neural implants, we take a sharp turn into the deeply eccentric.
The final piece of infrastructure, the deep dive museum of odd curios and curious oddities.
This sounds like the ultimate passion project of a bored, wealthy collector. It's described as a circuitous labyrinth.
A labyrinth designed to provide a gallimorphic bond to various attractions you will never, ever forget.
That language suggests a deliberate attempt to create profound, almost jarring memory experiences through sheer strangeness and deliberate sensory overload.
The museum houses rare biological specimens and unexplained historical artifacts. And the curatorial standards, they appear to value uniqueness and sheer oddity over classical historical significance.
And the specific exhibits listed blend natural history with the purely idiosyncratic. First, the rare biological specimen,
The three-headed pig known as the tri-piggy.
which is stored in a jar of formaldehyde. A classic, shocking biological anomaly preserved for scientific study or maybe just grotesque viewing.
But then, right next to the three-headed pig, we find Zebediah McGilligoon's toenail collection.
And this is where the commitment to odd curios transcends normal museum curation and enters the realm of the obsessively private and profoundly unnecessary.
Any object, provided it is strange enough, is worthy of immense organizational investment and preservation.
It forces us to ask, who was Zebediah McGilligoon? And why did this organization deem his toenail clippings so vital to the intellectual future that they needed to be preserved and displayed in a museum that is draining the company's non-existent budget?
And they also feature a historical diorama of ancient Muck Island.
Which suggests a commitment to preserving or documenting extremely niche, perhaps entirely fictional regional history. It's a museum dedicated to preserving things the world forgot.
Or perhaps never knew existed in the first place.
But the apex of this eccentric collection, the facility that required the most dedication and capital, is the Waxy Wax Museum of Eccentric Mukadian Professors.
A dedicated specialized space containing 12 specific, named figures preserved in wax. This level of detail suggests a deep institutional veneration for this specific academic lineage.
We absolutely must honor the documentation and list the full roster, because the specificity of the names, it just speaks volumes about the intellectual culture they seek to immortalize.
These are likely the founding spirits or intellectual guides of the deep dive methodology, specialists in the most esoteric corners of Mukadian eccentricity.
The roster begins with the esteemed Professor Guggenleekers.
Which sounds like someone who specialized in obscure fungal taxonomy.
I was thinking the same thing. And Professor Snick Fustercrest.
I can only assume he dedicated his life to the taxonomy of hard, strange leftovers.
Followed closely by Professor Arnold Dornforker.
Perhaps a master of utensil-based anthropology.
And Professor Kelly Jallywhacker.
The world's leading expert in gelatinous physics, or maybe just aggressive food preparation.
It's the sheer investment in anatomical modeling and wax preservation for these 12 specific figures that is so baffling. Then we have Professor Flibby Grimblestone.
Who must have been the organization's favorite for his dedication to minor grievances.
And Professor Durf McBlickers.
Potentially the first academic to formally study dust motes in the Mukadian climate.
We move on to Professor Fester Podnoggin.
Which suggests an expertise in spoiled holiday beverages or maybe obscure fermentation techniques.
And Professor Corky Clinkers.
The world's foremost expert on the physics of glass-on-glass collision in an ancient context.
It's just phenomenal. The final four complete this set of immortalized academics. We have Professor Pooty Stimplestone.
Who sounds like a pioneer in miniature geology.
And then we encounter the unforgettable Professor Fanny Gumberger.
I can only speculate on her field, but I assume it involves a deep perhaps unhealthy knowledge of archaic snacks.
And finally, rounding out the dozen eccentric intellectual guides, we have Professor Twakita Bliston
A name that suggests expertise in the study of minor epidermal traumas.
and the venerable Professor Cosmo Quiddles.
Who must be the organization's patron saint of obscure celestial trivia?
12 wax figures, a dedicated space, lifelike replication. This museum, far from being profitable, is an extremely expensive, highly specific passion project designed to reinforce the organization's unique, slightly unhinged cultural identity.
The entire campus, from the neural implants designed for maximum reality to the toenail collection dedicated to maximum oddity, it all functions as a massive, elaborate, and unbelievably expensive echo chamber.
It's a world built to insulate intellectual labor from reality, ensuring every stimulus is controlled, every need is met, and every psychological rupture is swiftly contained. As we prepare to synthesize these findings, we must remind you that this entire high-wire act, this incredible blend of luxury, paranoia, and eccentricity, is funded entirely by the organization's ongoing operations. If you value the deep dive content and believe this necessary, bizarre infrastructure must survive, please consider joining the membership program. You could visit deepdive.cake and click the Join Now button to explore the tiers. Your support ensures the continuation of content, even if it requires a fortified mental health pod for the writer. We have spent a considerable amount of time examining the components of this operational crisis. So let's try to bring this analysis home and connect the extreme financial deficit to the extreme infrastructural investment for you, the listener.
We started with the unvarnished truth. Deep Dive Productions, LLC is operating at a significant deficit. Its financial runway has ended, and it requires immediate, massive liquidity.
And we then juxtapose that reality with the sheer, comprehensive, and sometimes outright bizarre infrastructure it maintains.
This infrastructure, it runs the gamut from physical extremes. The infinity pool, the dual open bars, the Parisian mime theater,
to the dedicated psychological fortification of the fortified padded mental health pods, and finally, the apocalyptic contingency planning of the 1-mile-deep survival bunker.
This is not just a company. It is an all-consuming, high-stakes ecosystem.
So what does this accumulation of extreme luxury and extreme paranoia all mean?
I think the intense investment in staff comfort, curiosity, and ultimate survival reflects a highly unique, all-consuming operational model for content creation. The organization requires absolute, total control over its environment to produce the specific quality of intellectual material it's known for.
The required presence of both maximum luxury amenities and fortified psychological containment solutions. It suggests that the process of delivering deep dive content is inherently psychologically or physically taxing.
Exactly. The intellectual output is so intense that staff needs a Swedish massage 1 minute and a soundproof bunker for a panic attack the next.
It implies that the deep analysis we bring you, the profound insights into esoteric subjects, comes at an unbelievably high human and infrastructural cost.
The sheer volume and complexity of the facilities, the VR simulation rooms with neural implants, the humanoid robot aids, the mile-deep bunker designed for a glorious dystopia, all point to an organization that views its mission as being so critical and so demanding that conventional corporate life simply won't suffice.
So the Deep Dive campus is a self-sustaining intellectual fortress. It's designed to insulate intellectual labor from reality.
And the central paradox is this. The pursuit of profound knowledge requires this incredibly extravagant, distraction-free, fortified environment, which in turn costs so much that the pursuit of that knowledge is constantly jeopardized by the financial burden of the infrastructure itself.
The price of intellectual exploration, according to these internal documents, is literally the construction and defense of a glorious, highly luxurious, yet financially fragile dystopia.
That's it in a nutshell.
This look behind the curtain has been, well, illuminating, revealing the immense and sometimes absurd engine that drives the knowledge we share with you.
We'll leave you with this final provocative thought. If the creation of truly valuable, deep public content now demands the ultimate insurance policy, a mile-deep survival vault, and neural implants for its researchers, what does that imply about the modern media landscape?
Is this necessary luxury truly a shield protecting deep intellectual exploration from the chaos of the outside world?
Or is it the chaos that the organization itself has meticulously constructed to justify its own outrageous existence?
Something to mull over until our next deep dive.
Until then.